Hello there, my Aries gang. This is Melissa with Enchanted Emerald, bringing you your weekly reading for the week of August 18th through the 25th of 2022. As always, this is coming to you from my most favorite deck at this time, the Light Seers Tarot, and there's such beautiful artwork on this. So your energy this week, Aries, is actually represented by the Knight of Wands. So there's a lot of fiery energy coming in with this. Now, I feel as though there could have been a heated argument between you and another person, and I feel as though you're feeling like happy-go-lucky as a result of this, mostly feeling justified in your actions, having spoken your truth, and you feel maybe even like maybe this person deserved to hear this. They needed to hear this. And so you feel like this was time well spent. And I do feel overall it's kind of lightened your load, lightened your energy. And I feel like your energy has become a little bit more brighter, right? And so I feel like it's really shifted your energy a bit. By you being able to just speak your truth, stand in your truth, I do feel like this is a dynamic that's been building for quite a while. And I feel like you stating what you've said to this person, it was pretty overdue, okay? I feel like it might have gotten a little bit more than heated. It could have been like a screaming match. It could have been an argument. Unfortunately, it had to come to that. But I do feel like overall, this has really shifted your energy because you feel like, whew, I really needed to say that because it's been weighing on me and it's really been feeling heavy for a while now. So looking at your cards here for the week, we have the Two of Wands coming in, wanting to explore, right? With the Three of Wands actually going out to explore. Lots of emotions here with the Ace of Cups, and of course a little bit of communication coming in with the Page of Swords. Beautiful card there too. Look at that tightrope walking that fine line. And so that's exactly what comes in. It's fine line. So what we have here is, I feel a little bit like I'm hearing lyrics to a song, and it's talking about breaking free from the chains. I feel as though you've been in a bit of a mental purgatory, so to speak. One that you might have put yourself in, right? Where you have been sitting in a space where you might have been a little bit fearful or frightened to be overly involved or to express your emotions, right? And I think that that comes from a place of having a lot of emotional investment between you and this other person. And I feel as though you're sitting in a space now where you understand that, okay, now that I've kind of spoken my truth, I know where I have to go from here, right? You understand that it's your prerogative to make a choice for yourself, and you might actually have to initiate going forward, you know, what's happening from here on out, right? So whether you decide that this person is going to stay in your life, but you're going to implement boundaries, whether you're going to decide that this person has to have very limited access to you from here on out, whatever that looks like, I think you're sitting in this energy of where do I go from here? Now, I feel like if you were to have another conversation with this person, you might have some sort of a saving grace come in for you, something to break the fall, so to speak, where, you know, like a third party could come in, like someone could show up unexpectedly, even though you might have good intentions to have this conversation with this person by yourself. Or you could have something happen where you are like, gosh, I just need to break away from this situation at this time and take a trip somewhere, really shake up the energy, really get into my own energy and think about this and think about what I want going forward. Before I even take any action, I need to decide what is the best for me, right? Maybe you are thinking about what choice that you have to make. And so I feel like, you know, you might understand or recognize that this always ends up in some sort of a chase, whether this other person is pursuing you, so to speak, and trying to communicate with you and you don't want to have communication and you want to just be in your own energy and figure things out, or vice versa, where this other person might want to be in their own energy and try to figure things out, and you're trying to, you know, get all the answers and try to communicate with this person. So I feel like there's some sort of a dynamic, like a push and pull dynamic here, that always ensues as a result of just everything that's been happening, right? All these things that happen between the two of you. And I feel like, you know, again, because it's always this chase, so to speak, that happens between you and this other person, at what point is it accountability that's coming in, that you're recognizing this dynamic and you're seeing like, okay, is this person moving away from me because they need this space, to chase their dreams, so to speak? Or is it them running away from the situation because they don't want to have this communication with me because they want to avoid the consequences, right? So you have to kind of look at that dynamic and understand why this dynamic is playing out. And also look at your own, right? Holding yourself accountable for that dynamic as well, because when you do that, is it because you genuinely need this space and to really figure things out, or is it because you also are kind of running away from the situation because you're just tired emotionally and you really need that time and energy for yourself to kind of recuperate before you can even think clearly? Or, is it because you really are like avoiding the whole consequences of any of your actions, right? And not having to have that tough conversation with that person. So I feel like there's a fine line there, though, right? That's that fine line to cross, because I feel like any conversation has the potential to kind of explode. And, like it's always like you're on this brink of disaster with this communication, with this page of swords here. You're always on that fine line where it's like any little hot button topic or any little wrong word or anything like that throughout this conversation, it could be a trigger, so to speak, for either of you, and kind of like things could go south quickly. And so I feel like, shifting into the energy for this week, I think this communication between the two of you could be pretty sporadic, right? I think too that the communication that you are having, it's more like a means to an end, right? Like you're only doing that to achieve basic goals. Whether, like anything that you absolutely have to communicate about, then you will. But I also feel like there could be ulterior motives that kind of creep in. This person could, be potentially trying to hide some information from you. And I feel like as a result of that, they want to try to limit their contact with you, because it might be that you understand this person really well, and then they, when they have this, creeping in of wanting to maybe lie or not fully disclose the truth, you understand when that's happening. You can tell in their face or whatever that is. So I feel like this person might be overly rude to you, really obnoxious, might curse or something like that throughout the conversations, mostly because they know that you wouldn't tolerate that, or you would really limit your time in communicating with them as a result of that. So it's almost as if they're doing that very much on purpose, and so it kind of like gets them out of having to be truthful or to have those hard conversations. And so overall advice here for you, Aries, we had 4 cards that came out actually for that. We have Ace of Wands. This is such a beautiful card. I really love this one. 9 of Wands. So lots of passion coming in with this. Defensiveness, right? Page of Wands and 10 of Wands. So feeling a little bit more like overwhelmed. I feel as though you could feel like you're really spinning your wheels, like you're getting nowhere fast. And, I really think that this is about understanding that going forward, you don't really want to have any regrets when it comes to this situation. So this is going to be very firm, fast, hard boundaries, right? Setting your boundaries. Also knowing your limits, knowing what you will and won't tolerate, and then following through and making sure that you are, not tolerating those things and limiting anything that is transpiring thereafter, because you know that you aren't going to tolerate that. So to limit the explosive conversations when it starts to go to a certain point and hey, that's when I get really upset, that's when you need to end the conversation, walk away, or whatever. So really, it's also too about knowing and honoring yourself throughout that whole process, right? Knowing when you want to say no and following through with saying no when you want to say no. Not saying yes because you feel some sort of an obligation to this person, because you are obligated to yourself first. Because if you were to say yes when you really wanted to say no, you're then also going to be upset through this whole thing, possibly even disrespected by this other person through this whole process, right? And then that person, has more of an advantage throughout this whole thing, and you're really disrespecting yourself throughout this whole process. So that's when I talk about knowing your limits, and also keeping yourself to a space where you're not going to have any regrets, right? Because you're getting yourself into a situation that you probably are unable to handle because you're already emotionally tired of the situation. So I feel like there is something to be said here, and a bit of surrender with this, a little bit of letting go, right? We have a tendency as human beings to want to try to control the outcome, right? And we do have a tendency to want to do all the things that we feel that we need to do in order to achieve a particular outcome. We have our mind focused on, or set on, our heart set on a certain outcome, and we try to make sure that things go in a specific way so that we can be sure to get that outcome. So there's a little bit here to be said with allowing this to kind of scatter like ashes in letting go. So kind of surrendering the outcome, right? And just being true to yourself through this whole process. And if that comes down to this person saying goodbye as a result, when you really wanted to be in a space where you were together, then so this is like accepting that for full face value, and so be it, right? But in that surrender, understanding that yes, this is intense, and there's a lot of intense emotions that come with that. Know that you, throughout this whole process, cannot protect this other person from the consequences of their choices. And so set your intentions for protecting your own heart, and follow through with actions and protecting your own heart, and you will get through this and onto the other side. So I'm sending you light, Aries, as you work through this, through your energy this week. So I do so hope that if you're in need of a personal reading, you will not hesitate to reach out, because I'd love to do that for you. And you can reach me at enchantedemeraldny@gmail.com, or you can book a session right at the square site in the description box below here on YouTube, or pinned at the top of the page on my Facebook business page, Enchanted Emerald. As always, I will be back with another read for you guys again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.